Hi everyone, thank you for participating in our virtual um, pre-recorded orientation sessions and our live sessions later on. Um, this pre-recorded session is all about timesheets and how to submit those, how to access those, what type of system we use. So yeah, thanks for participating and we will get started. So the first step into accessing your timesheets for your service here is to log into the America Learns website. As you see on the screen, there is a hyperlink. This hyperlink with the backslash of Homes for All will take you directly to the login website. So as you can see from the picture that I've taken, this is just a screenshot of what it looks like for me. As you can see, I have my email address and my password saved. You can see at the bottom too, we post any Homes for All news that comes up, and America Learns will post any news as well. So once you get logged into your profile, it's going to show you your dashboard. So on the left-hand side, you can click View and Update Profile. And what you can do, this is pretty helpful, but you can update your email address when you click Update or View and Update your profile. So you can update your email address, you can update your password, you can also add your cell phone number and the cell phone carrier. That way, if we want to send a text message through America Learns, maybe just like a notification on, hey, we got a reflection due, or hey, your timesheet's due, we can do that. So we just ask that once you have logged into your America Learns account, you do get your name, like your contact information up to date. So once you've logged into your America Learns account, you should see what says or what is called My Timesheets. So from what you can see on this slide, it will show you your timesheet period, and it'll show you at the Where You Are table. This table is very helpful. Every time you log into America Learns, it's going to show up. It's really going to help you stay on top of your service term because it does show you the remaining hours and the time that it needs to be completed. It does show you the average hours needed each week to successfully complete the program, but it also shows you that average number of weekly hours that you need to make sure that you're eligible for that education award, which is such a big benefit to serving in a national service program. It also shows you your approved hours, and then it also shows you any pending hours. So on this example, nothing has been submitted yet, but you can see if you have any pending hours at the very bottom of that table, those are the hours that you have submitted to your site supervisor for a timesheet period, and they haven't approved those yet. On this slide, this is the timesheet dashboard continued. So we're still going over what you are seeing on your timesheet dashboard. So you also will see those view submitted timesheets. So here you can go in and you can view any submitted timesheets. And all you have to do is select the timesheet period that you're wishing to view on the drop-down menu. You also will be able to see timesheets that maybe you've continued but you haven't submitted yet. So you would click on that blue hyperlink. I'm on like step 5 or whatever. You can click on that blue hyperlink and continue adding for that timesheet period. And then on step 6, it's called edit and resubmit timesheets. So you'll see this if you have submitted a timesheet to your site supervisor and they may have noticed that maybe you shorted yourself on some hours one day in that timesheet, so they can pin it back to you so that you can make any type of corrections. You will probably also be notified by email from America Learns as well. So if you ever need to edit and resubmit your timesheets, you would click on that blue hyperlink for that timesheet period, go in, make the needed corrections, and resubmit it. Okay, so on this slide, you can see our test member has a lot of timesheets they need to submit. So obviously we want everybody to stay on top of this and we don't want things to kind of get out of control like our test member here and have, 10 plus timesheets to submit. But when a new timesheet appears or if you have one saved that you need to continue and submit, it shows up here. You just simply click on the link for the timesheet that you are wanting to work on. Really, we want everyone to stay on top of this. There are usually just 2 timesheet periods that have to be submitted by the end of the month. So let's do our due diligence to make sure that we get those submitted at the end of each pay period. So when you have selected the timesheet period that you are getting ready to submit for approval, this is what it will look like. It tells you the 3 steps at the very top on what needs to be completed. So the first thing is you are going to select your site by moving it from the available to the selected column. You do have 2 options on what you want to do next. You can just update it each day individually for each day, or you can select update and apply to all days. There's only going to be one service site that shows up for each of your timesheets. So if you serve at Elizabeth's Village, you're only going to have one service site to select from. As you can see from this one, this is our test site. So it does save time to just click that second option of update and apply, so you don't have to keep doing that. So here on this slide, we are talking about how to document on your timesheet days that you did not serve. So for each day of a timesheet period, you'll need to note whether or not you've served. So if it's a day that you didn't serve, you would click that check box like in the screenshot on the presentation. And then you're going to choose from the here's why drop down box. So these are your options as to why you didn't serve. For this example, I would just say, okay, it's Sunday, July 26th, didn't serve, it's the weekend. But you do see that there are other options for you to choose for why you didn't serve on a day. So your options are, if since we are in the middle of a pandemic, you have that COVID-19 site closure. So if your site is having to close down due to the pandemic, you would choose that. If it's a holiday, so if it's, Thanksgiving Day, you would choose that. If you're not scheduled for service on that day, you would choose that. If you're using your personal or vacation time for a day off, you have that option. You have your sick day, and if there's a weather-related closure, like a really bad winter storm or ice storm came, you could choose that if your site closed due to that weather or that inclement weather. And for the days that you do not serve, you do not accumulate any hours towards your 1,700 hour requirement. So please keep that in mind. So now that we have went over on how to log hours that you didn't serve, we are moving right along to how to complete your timesheet to show your time in and your time out. So on this day, for every day that you are serving, you are going to put your time in. So on the example, on the presentation, this person came in, coming in, this is the schedule that they have agreed to with their site supervisor and their site. So this person is coming in at 8 a.m. and they are leaving at 4:30 p.m. Now, underneath the time in and time out, you see your different service categories. And in the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about that. The majority of your time is going to be either in housing services, because that's the type of AmeriCorps position you're in, a housing services AmeriCorps position, or you are a construction AmeriCorps position. So on this day, this person is receiving credit for 8 hours of housing services. You do not receive credit for your lunch breaks. So this person isn't receiving credit for a half an hour because they took a lunch. And so you just click that and it documents it for that day. So like I mentioned on the previous slide on how to, log your time in and your time out, there are different categories on your timesheet. So we'll go over the category and when to use it. So like I mentioned, the service category will be the one that you are going to use the most often. So any direct service activity or activity related to your site will be logged under the service hours. Underneath that service category, there are subcategories like I talked about. The housing services, construction, working with volunteers, capacity building activities, and remote service. Depending on the type of position that you are in, depends on which subcategory you're going to use the majority of your service term. So if you are providing housing case management, almost every day of your service, that's a lot of what your position description talks about. You are going to add your hours under housing services. If you are a construction member or you are in a construction position, the majority of your hours are going to go under construction. If you have some capacity building activities that you are completing, that is listed on your position description. So if you are doing capacity building activities and you do not see it on your position description, then you need to contact Caitlin or myself so that we can talk about that. Remote service. So if you were having to do any type of remote service because of, for example, for the pandemic, you also need to contact myself or Caitlin so we know what type of services, what type of activities and tasks you're going to be doing away from your site. The next category that you see on your timesheet is training. And so there are two subcategories under that training category. The first one is the Homes for All training. So the time that you completed listening to this presentation and this training, you would log that time under the Homes for All training. So on the presentation on this slide, you see that, anytime you're doing something with Homes for All, so with Caitlin and myself, or with Serve Kentucky, our service commission, or CNCS, those are all going to be logged under Homes for All training. The other subcategory under training is site-specific training. So, during your first, couple of weeks or month of your service, you could be doing some on-site training with your site supervisor to get you more oriented with your everyday tasks and responsibilities that you'll be doing that align with your position description. Anytime you're doing trainings like that, you would log those hours under site-specific training. If your site is able to send you to a training or a conference like the Affordable Housing Conference, you would log those training hours under the site-specific category. The next category on your timesheet is called, it's fundraising. So this option should very rarely be used. And we like to say, or we like to tell everyone that anytime you are doing any type of fundraising, you must receive confirmation from myself or Caitlin before you provide or you do those activities. We have to make sure that they are allowable. So if we see any fundraising hours logged on timesheets, because we do review them as well, we will pin it back and we will touch base with you to see what those hours and what type of tasks you were doing. When you are filling your timesheet out for every day, you will see in red at the bottom the hours you won't receive credit for. So after you have allocated all the time that you have spent serving for that day, you will also need to take an account for any time that's left over. So like on the example that I showed you a few slides up, I came in at 8 and I left at 4:30, and there was a half hour where I did not receive credit for it, and that was because I took a lunch. So you see that half hour here in red. I would like to say we do get asked a lot if, can I serve through, lunch? Sure, if that's something that you and your site supervisor have talked about, but we do, you know, want to talk about the importance of taking some time away from your service activities and away from those responsibilities, and taking time to make sure you are, eating well and not, eating super fast. It really does help with burnout, taking that time every day. So just be mindful about where you're at. If you, are choosing to, maybe serve through a lunch every now and then. On this slide again, it just kind of has the breakdown chart of those hours that you would not receive credit for. So break, so if you take a 15-minute break and you run and get coffee, or if you use it as a smoke break, or if you just take a mental 15-minute break away from your service activities, you would include that on your timesheet. And then that other hours that you, or half hour, whatever it is that you don't receive credit for, would be for that lunch break. All right, so we're moving on to, still completing your timesheet. So once you have allocated those time for each day, you're going to see the save or copy and paste option underneath each day. So you do have two options on how you want to complete the rest of the timesheet. So your option one would be to save and continue completing your timesheet for now. So if you're wanting to come back, or if you go in every day and you log your hours at the end of each day, you can do that. Your other option is to save and continue completing your timesheet later. So once you have clicked, a window will pop up on whichever option that you choose. It will pop up, and it will allow you to choose the days or days that you would like to add your current information to. So as you can see in the picture, it says, if you are really getting into a routine and, it's a typical service week for you, in this option where it says copy entries to other days, you do have that option. You can just click the little checkbox beside each day and then save it. And it really does help cut down some time that your timesheet may take you to do, especially when getting used to, the new system. Now we are moving on to submitting your timesheet. So you have went through every day in that pay period. You've put either the days that you did not serve and the days that you did serve. And so then it's going to show you this box where it says totals for the period. In this example, you can see 40 hours went straight to, all 40 hours went straight to housing services. It shows you at the bottom as well, all of those different categories and subcategories. So anytime that maybe your days are split up with, doing your housing services activities at your site, and then maybe completing some, Homes for All training during, the first little bit of your service, it would show those hours allocated to all of those different categories and subcategories. It's you definitely want to review it, and you want to make sure that you have recorded everything so you don't short yourself anything. And then once you have reviewed your timesheet and made sure that everything and all of you're getting credit for all of the hours that you've served, you are going to authorize and submit it. So at the very bottom, you authorize it by electronically signing your name. Once you do that, you're going to click the authorize and submit to your supervisor for approval. I will say, if you have forgotten anything on a day during that timesheet period, it will not let you um, submit your timesheet to your supervisor. So that may come up. It's easily done to overlook a day. So yep, it won't let you submit it if there's not a day that's been filled out. Then once you have electronically entered your name and submitted it to your supervisor is then notified that you have sent in your timesheet, and then they can go in and review it for, review it to make sure that everything looks good, and then approve it or send it back to you for any corrections. So this whole pre-recorded and virtual orientation training is definitely new to us. We're used to being in person with all of you, but we do have to make sure that you have listened and participated in this training. So with that, there is a very short timesheet quiz over this presentation that is open in your America Learns. You should see this when you log into your America Learns account on that left-hand side of your dashboard. It should show that report opened up for you. We're really just doing this to track your participation and make sure that you do understand how to use your or how to use the system to keep track of your hours, what you receive credit for, what you don't receive credit for. And we do ask that this be completed by August 31st. And lastly, just to wrap up this presentation, if you need any help, please email me or give me a call. It does not matter, but reach out to me. That way I can help you. I know this is a new system for everyone. And so just take some time to play around with it and make sure you understand how to log it. But if for some reason you submit something or you can't find something in your on your timesheet, or really anything, feel free to send me an email or give me a call, and we will get it sorted out together.